All right, welcome everybody. So happy for another episode of our Coastal Fitness podcast, and I'm very happy to have Babs by my side, one of my beloved colleagues, and she's actually one of the OGs in Coastal Fitness. And today we're going to be speaking about postpartum, a very interesting topic that I don't know anything about, so I'm very curious to learn from you. Before we start, could you introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Sad. So, like Sad said, I'm Babs. I've been working at Coastal Fitness for about 8.5, 9 years now.
Wow.
Started a long time ago before we had our own facility. I follow the group program here. I coach the classes, and I'm a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And I love it. Just trying to kind of find that balance now between motherhood and having something that I'm passionate about for myself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. So you're a mother yourself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which gives you a lot of credibility to speak about the subject as well, for
Yeah.
sure. So we'll delve straight into it.
Yeah, great.
What is postpartum?
So postpartum is basically any time after you physically given birth. Pregnancy is 10 months,
Yeah.
and postpartum is basically the rest of your life after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. And so why are you so passionate about this subject?
I'm passionate about it because I felt when I was pregnant with Kai, I had great coaches who were advising me, and I feel like I have generally good body awareness, so I could kind of, decide whether things were going to be in my program or I didn't want to do it and things like that. But there was definitely a gap. There was a gap in education and maybe a bit of support. So I didn't really know who to kind of turn to if I needed something that was extra that maybe some of the guys that I was working with
Yeah.
couldn't answer.
Yeah, true.
You're told generally the guideline is listen to your body. And kind of if you were doing something before you were pregnant, generally it's kind of deemed safe to do during pregnancy and then afterwards. But I think it's quite a vague message, and there's pros and cons to it. I
Yeah,
suppose.
absolutely true. And then another thing that really struck me that was really interesting was this type of social pressure with regards to women and getting back into training. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of social media pressure, maybe in magazines, the internet, etc. It definitely is getting better. Now I've kind of followed a few more of these things online. It is getting better, but there's still a lot of kind of pressure to get your body back straight after you've had a baby. The pressure to sort of look, like you haven't had a baby,
Yeah.
sort of a week after you've had a child.
Wow.
Which, for some people that might be your genetics and you will bounce back really, really quickly. But for other people, that's just not the case. And you're kind of made to feel, inadequate, kind of, you're already probably a little bit vulnerable, you're exhausted, everything's unknown. And then you add on this sort of pressure of people kind of seemingly kind of judging why you don't look like you should.
Yeah, absolutely true. All right, so that is something to be passionate about. So let's talk about it a little bit more, because I don't know what happens. So what happens to the female body in general when a female gives birth?
So in terms of just, obviously scientifically you can go into tons and tons of things, but
let's keep it simple.
You're obviously growing a human being inside you.
True.
Okay, so your body is adapting to having this extra thing inside, and it's going to adapt. Organs are going to move slightly, joints, your pelvis is going to move slightly to allow for this human being to basically pass through the birth canal.
True.
Generally you would say a lot of kind of hormonal changes that are allowing you to sort of eventually kind of relax your muscles, tendons, ligaments to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously ongoing, it's going to be kind of production of milk and that kind of thing once you've had the baby as well.
Yeah. Okay, so super interesting. So there's a lot of stuff happening to the body, hormonal, and then the pelvis is potentially out of place.
Exactly out of place.
And then maybe, like we spoke about the tissue damage that could be done.
Yeah, I mean,
as well?
obviously if you are having a C-section, you're
Yeah.
definitely going to have some
Surgery.
stitches. It's
Yeah.
basically a major surgery.
Yeah.
And then if you're having a vaginal birth, even if it's nice and simple, you might still have some kind of tearing where you require stitches or something like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it quite so straightforward, I suppose.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. So the baby's there.
Yeah, you got your baby.
Yeah. What is the first thing women? What should women focus on?
I think, unfortunately, I guess for a lot of people that want to go out and have their own life straight away, that's just not the case.
No.
You are there to look after your child.
Absolutely.
You know, especially if you're breastfeeding, you're going to be breastfeeding your child. You know, putting them down for sleeps and just taking care of them because they can't fend for themselves yet.
Absolutely. No.
You know, and then the best way to do that is take care of yourself. You know, physically, mentally, emotionally, just kind of encompassing those things, just like a holistic overview. You need to take care of yourself, so you're setting yourself up to be able to best take care of you when you
So true. So true. So you spoke about a little thing that you had going for yourself that gave you some me time. Could you elaborate on that?
I'm really lucky, and my parents live in Hong Kong, and my parents-in-law came to visit us once we had the baby. So we had a really good support network of family, and I have a great group of friends who have also gone through having their own children. So it was kind of reaching out, asking for help. You can't do it all by yourself all the time, and just getting a little bit of time away for yourself. You know, so for example, if Kai was sleeping, maybe my mum was there, maybe my mother-in-law was there. I just go out, and I live near Victoria Park, so I would just, you know, headphones on, podcast on, music on, just something that kind of takes you away from all of the pressures and the unknown of being a new mum, to something that I was interested in, you know, whether it was kind of personal training kind of related or just music that I like to listen to, and just walk. I mean, I wasn't trying to do it to necessarily lose weight or, you know, weight train or anything like that. It was just move outside, just an hour away, just for myself.
Awesome. That's amazing. So taking care of yourself so you could take care of your baby.
Yeah, it kind of gave you that mental break to kind of gather your thoughts and, you know, just breathe and then go back and be set up well for, you know, the rest of the day if that's what, you know, you're going to hang out with Kai for the rest of the day.
Love that. Awesome. So, let's talk about training. So you've taken care of your baby, you're feeling better after this whole process. When is the best time to get back into training?
So I mean, again, it's quite vague, which is probably one of the main kind of complications and problems with it. It's typically, you know, 8 to 10 weeks once you've had a vaginal birth. It's considered safe to go back into training once you've maybe had clearance from the doctor. If you've had a C-section, it might be a little bit longer, sort of 3 to 4 months again after having clearance from the doctor. But I feel like clearance from the doctor is only one part of it, and especially in Hong Kong. I went government, and I literally went to the doctor, I think maybe 6 weeks afterwards. They looked at my, you know, female exam, and that was literally, oh good, you're fine. And that was you on your way. It kind of gave you just a small picture of maybe what's happening. So I think kind of doing some research and then finding someone who's maybe a little bit more specialist in those kind of areas, you know, whether it's a pelvic health or specialist or someone like that that can really give you a little bit more thorough exam or assessment to give you like a better picture of where you actually are at.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Awesome. Great. So you got the clearance, you went to a pelvic floor specialist maybe. You're ready to start training. How would you approach the training from step 1 to the rest of your life? How would you approach it?
So again, it's going to be person to person, baby to baby, birth to birth. It's not always going to be the same, even if you've had multiple children. It doesn't mean every recovery is going to be exactly the same. So I feel like everyone wants to put like a time on it. You know, I can do this in 2 months, I can do this in 3 months. And really it should be like a more general progression. Something is going to progress much faster, whereas other things might not progress so smoothly. You might find that you're kind of not going anywhere. But it is slowly building and getting stronger and more improved. In terms of starting training again, I suppose it's going to be relatively slow to start with. You know, whether you're doing just bodyweight exercises to start with, adding light loads, things that are kind of functional, you know, whether that's transferring, kind of lifting up something from the floor in the gym, that would be kind of considered more like a deadlift, you know, whether that's squatting down squatting in the gym. Obviously your body might be a little bit different, so it's just kind of getting that awareness back of how you're going to move once you've had a baby.
Awesome.
It's also kind of, okay, do I have any symptoms? Do I have a diastasis that needs fixing or closing the gap? Do I have any leaking? Any of those kind of problems, incontinence, things that maybe need other attention, more specific attention, but also bringing all of those training plans, I suppose, it should try to heal those symptoms, not make them worse or leave them just as is.
Yeah.
It needs to improve those problems, and then you're basically working from building that core, but as a whole, I suppose, into the rest of your body as well, not just kind of the old-fashioned way, I suppose, of just standing there and doing your Kegel exercises. It's got to be, okay, well, am I really kind of clenching everything so tight to be able to move without kind of wetting myself, I suppose, kind of getting those muscles strong, but in a way that's going to transfer over to holding your baby, pushing your baby, lifting your baby, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. So I loved how you explained that. So how I understood it is, so you could potentially start very light walking, then on the side you would do some core exercises, pelvic floor exercises, but you want to make sure that you integrate that stuff back into movements that you would do as a mother or as a human being in day-to-day life, right?
Like, I like that word, like you integrate the system, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just your arm and your leg, it's kind of everything together.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, most of the time you're going to be laden down with your child, with your shopping, with your backpack, with a stroller, for example. So it's just kind of bringing, I suppose, awareness into your general posture every day. Are you hiking your shoulders up really high just to be able to hold on to your child? Are you aware of that, or have you no idea how you're kind of standing? Do you prop your child up on your hip and kind of jut out to the side? If you're spending 5 seconds there, it's not really going to be a problem. But if that's your natural way of holding your child every day, and you're holding them, for the most part of the day, then obviously that could lead to kind of alignment issues down the line. You just need to be aware of, I suppose.
Absolutely. Awesome. Great. Thank you so much for your time, Babs. And I'm really looking forward to knowing more about this in the next episode. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you guys, and be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Damn! I tripped over my words. I was